Whether you're interested in getting the PHLster Modular Wedge Kit, or you've already got one and you're thinking, how the heck do I use this? I'm gonna make it really simple. In this video, I'm gonna show you how to set up your PHLster Wedge Kit for the best comfort and concealment. What is up, guys? Will Workman here with Workman Protection Training, here to give you the skills, the tools, and the mindset to protect yourself and your family. If you haven't yet, don't forget to like and subscribe down below so that we can get this content past the algorithm. Our sponsor for today's video is Locked In Grip Liquid Shooting Chalk. Locked In Grip keeps your hands free of moisture while providing a great connection to your firearm during training. I tend to get sweaty hands when I train, which causes me to get a blister right here. Locked In Grip makes a huge difference in my connection to the gun, and I never go to the range without it. Check them out at lockedingrip.com. The PHLster Enigma is a pretty crazy concealed carry setup that is unlike any other. So why would we expect their wedge kit to be any different?
I don't know.
In this video, I'm gonna show you how to set it up in the best way for comfort and concealment. Big thanks to Baker Targets for sending us this nice tablecloth. If you need some good defensive targets or targets just for fun at the range, then check them out at bakertargets.com. So first, let's look at what comes in the kit. All right, so you've got your wedges themselves. We'll talk about that here in just a second. You've got all your little Velcro pieces for the wedge. And then you've got two main Velcro pieces for the holster.
Not too often do you get all this neatness in one location.
So these are all the different holster wedge options that come in the kit. So you can use a couple of these together. You can use the different shapes and stack them on top of each other. You can do them side by side. However you want to do it to really get the most out of your concealment and comfort. But first we need to cut them out. Now you can just use a pair of scissors for that. These are definitely overkill, but they're what I have handy. Now that we've got all of the pieces cut out, we're gonna go ahead and attach all the Velcro. And these are double-sided, so they just stick right to this. Something I want to point out, a typical holster wedge kind of looks like this. It's very squared on the edges and very wedge shaped. There's no smooth edges on it, but this is soft, squishy material, so it's not like that's going to be a problem. But typically they're a little bit sharper edges like that. Now I like to cut mine so that the edges are smoother, and this one I've worn for over a year, and so it's definitely kind of smoothed out on its own just from the friction of being worn. But you can see how that's kind of much smoother around. So these wedges are already made that way. They are very rounded on all sides and not really square, which is great because you don't really need it to be square. You just need it to be the right shape. I honestly expected these to feel like really like jelly and squishy, but they feel like foam on the inside. Like they feel the exact same way as most wedges. It's just that they have this cloth on the outside. For this video, we're gonna be using the Henry Holster's Spark holster.
I mean, I'm so dumb.
I threw a blue gun in there that's the same size as my Glock 19 just because I can use it for demonstration without having to worry about where my gun is pointed. The great thing about this holster is it already kind of has a shape that aids in concealment. There's a slight angle there, and this piece is actually only on the bottom, so it definitely pushes the gun inward towards your body some. It's not squishy or anything like that. It's simply a piece of the holster. The shape of it just helps a little bit more with concealment, which is great. But to get the most out of it, just like any holster, we definitely want to apply a holster wedge. Big thanks to the guys over at Henry Holsters for sending us this holster and this wedge kit.
Thank you, thank you.
Now let's go ahead and stick the Velcro piece to this holster. We're gonna go ahead and stick it on as it is right now, but I probably will cut it down or reshape it a little bit later if there's any sharp corners. All the way to the edge of the holster and start it right there. And I'm just gonna kind of squeeze out any gaps that I have. So I'm gonna do that main part first, and it is definitely sticky. All right, cool. That adhesive definitely seems to work really well. I don't see any edges coming up anywhere. So provided that that stays down, I'll probably just leave it. I may take that little corner off just to make sure that it doesn't rub up against anything later. But for now, we're gonna leave it on and see how it does. If you've watched any of my other holster wedge videos, you know that we need to move this gun around on my body in order to get the best concealment. So this particular holster does a pretty good job at pulling the top of the gun inward towards my body. And it does an okay job at pulling the grip of my gun inward, but as you guys saw, there's just a little bit of a gap right here. So in order to fix that, we're just gonna use one of these small ones first, and if we need more, then we can add maybe a bigger one. But we're just gonna add this right there on the side. It's going to push against my body, which is going to force the holster to pivot this way just a little bit. Pivot! We'll also throw one of these little ones on the bottom right there next to it, just so it kind of finishes the pulling this way and pulling that way. I'm gonna try that on and see what that does for concealment. So as you guys can see, that definitely helped with concealing the gun. You can see where it's a little bit more pressed in towards my body, and that gap right there is almost non-existent. Like it definitely pulled it in a lot right there. But I'm gonna try the wedge that's a little bit bigger on this side just to see if it really takes out the rest of that gap. All right, so I'm gonna take off both of these, and I think I'm just gonna use this one right here because it essentially does the same thing as both of those. It pushes the gun kind of this way, but it's also wider at the bottom, so it's gonna push the gun inward towards my body a little bit too. I think I'm actually gonna scoot that over just a hair, and then I'm gonna put this little one kind of in that groove right there just to make sure that this wedge doesn't like kick that way. And I also like to have my wedges at the very bottom of the holster so that the edge of the holster doesn't rub up against my body. It's protected by the edge of that wedge right there. As you try out the different size wedges, just try it out, see how it feels, and see what it does for your concealment. So let's give this combination a try. You guys can see where that completely took out the gap between my grip and my body. That did an excellent job at pulling the gun inward and pulling the grip inward. So that really is super concealable now. Like that grip is not sticking out like it was before. That was really simple to set up. I love that it's completely customizable. I think this is the best combination for me. It just makes the most out of this holster setup to make it really comfortable, super concealable, and those smooth edges really do feel good against your body. There are still so many holster wedges left over. Like this is enough for 2 or 3 more holsters, which is pretty awesome when you think about the value that you're getting when you buy one of these kits. If you gain value from this video, then don't forget to like and subscribe down below. And until next time, be alert, stand firm in your faith, be strong, be courageous, and let all that you do be done in love. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.